I spent the week exploring the F-roads of Iceland this summer. This is what I wish I knew before. There are marks in the video timeline, so you can skip to the topics you're interested in. The F-roads are mountain roads and lead to some of the most beautiful nature of Iceland. There are also much fewer people there compared to the ring road. The right choice of car is extremely important for traveling the Icelandic highlands. Four-wheel drive is required and not all car companies allow their cars to be taken on F-roads, so make sure to check that before renting. Popular choices are smaller cars like the Dacia Duster or larger cars like the Toyota Land Cruiser. The smaller cars are cheaper and easier to drive on the ring road. The more off-road capable but more expensive larger SUVs reduce the risk of having to turn back because of a river. The third and maybe best option for people lacking proper off-road experience is to rent a super cheap. High ground clearance, tough tires and good suspension will make your trip easier and more enjoyable. Renting a car with a snorkel could also be a smart move, depending on your plans. More on that later. Make sure to bring some kind of analog map. Phone reception isn't always reliable where you're going. A road map with river crossings and campsites marked is great. These are also helpful landmarks when driving through otherwise difficult to navigate landscapes. You should furthermore always check the road conditions before departing on a journey. Important websites are road.is to see whether a particular road is closed, wheter.is for the national weather forecast, and iskort.is, where you'll see all F-roads and dirt tracks with their surrounding terrain. Preparation in general is very important for this kind of adventure. Inform yourself on the route you plan to take and possible problems you might encounter. Make sure to fill up with fuel, bring enough water and food and the right clothes and shoes, even if you don't plan on doing any hiking. Planning enough time for the drive to make sure you can reach a place to sleep or restock on food and water is also essential. If you only have a few days in Iceland, I'd recommend to focus on the southwest because of the relatively high F-road density and the option of conveniently combining this area with the Golden Circle. There are also a lot of famous tourist attractions in the south. I may upload a video about crossing Iceland through the center in the future, so if you're planning to do that, you might want to check that out afterwards. Before choosing a road with big river crossings, make sure to check the weather. Rainfall or melting snow can massively increase the dangerousness of fording certain rivers. In general, do not attempt to ford a river if you aren't sure you'll make it. It's better to turn back and miss out on a road or destination than to risk drowning your engine, or yourself. There are several things you need to do before driving into the water. How deep is the water and could it reach up to your motor's air intake? If your car is equipped with a snorkel, this will most likely not pose a problem. If you're not certain about the water's depth, you could either test it on foot or wait for a bigger car to pass first. Waiting for another car could take a while depending on the river you want to cross. Should you have judged the river to be sufficiently shallow, it's time to choose your route through the river. Some crossings have ropes marking the crossing route, in which case you should drive along the ropes. For crossings without ropes, you'll have to choose your own way. You want to drive around the sides of the crossing instead of straight through. For many rivers, driving first slightly into the current and then driving most of the distance across with the river pushing behind you seemed to be a smart strategy to us. Also try to watch for big rocks, which could get you stuck if you should drive on them. You want to be driving at a steady 5 to 10 km an hour. If you drive any faster, the wave your car creates increases the risk of water getting into your car's air intake. Do not stop in the river. Once you're in, you must commit. Depending on your car, you should choose either first or second gear. If your car is equipped with it, engaging low gear won't be doing any harm. Locking the differential can help with muddy or sandy ground. Once you've reached steady ground and continue driving, tap your brakes lightly to help dry them. Can rivers be forded in a Dacia Duster? Yes and no. There are some rivers you should never attempt to cross in a small car like the Duster or the Chimney. Some you mightn't even be able to ford with a large SUV depending on the weather and other factors. To minimize the risk of having to turn back, you could rent a super cheap. This is a more expensive option, but not having to worry about unexpectedly deep or strong rivers as much makes the journey much more enjoyable. If renting a super cheap doesn't fit your budget, you can have a lot of fun with a less capable car. You just might need to adjust your route accordingly. For a longer stay in Iceland, you could also consider renting a super jeep for part of your journey and then switching to a smaller car. One of the most beautiful locations in Iceland is Maellifell in the Southern Highlands, reachable only via F-roads. There's a stunningly beautiful river delta nearby, at the end of which you'll find the starting point of a trail leading to a hot spring called Strutzlaug that is still in its natural state. It's just a knee-deep mud hole engulfed between two glacial streams. We're in Strutzlaugar at the moment, which is a hot spring, reachable by about 5 kilometers of hiking. And we're completely alone here. It's our private pool, about 10 degrees outside, about 40 degrees in here, and with an absolutely stunning view. To reach the hike's starting point, you must continue driving to the right of Strutur Hut until you reach a small parking area. The hike is about an hour each way and you have to cross a small stream to get there. If you choose to drive there or back by the F232, you'll also pass the Blattfjallafoss. Another route to Maellifell is the F210, which in my opinion is one of the coolest F-roads to drive. The road leads through a riverbed for a short duration. There's one big river crossing on the way. There are private super cheap tours going to Maellifell, so if you've decided against renting one yourself, that may be an option for you. I've put a link to a video by Epic Iceland about this in the description. Epic Iceland is generally a good source for specific information, so maybe check out their channel or website as well. Paying a visit to some of the attractions from the Golden Circle either at the beginning or end of your trip can round off your Iceland experience. Thingvellir is where the old Icelandic parliament, the Althing, took place for more than 800 years. The landscape is beautiful, but for anyone trying to learn more about Icelandic history, I'd rather recommend the National Museum of Iceland in Reykjavik. The Gullfoss is worth a quick stop as well, if it fits your schedule, but you'll find a multitude of equally as imposing waterfalls further on your journey. Different story with the Geysir. Checking out this spectacle is highly advised. Eruptions occurred about every 10 minutes during our visit. Whoa! Yo! There was a parking fee of 1000 Icelandic kronas, which is about $7 at almost every attraction reachable by paved road. Near Wick is where the Black Beach is located. Popular attractions like this are best enjoyed early or very late in the day. Visible from the Black Beach is Dirhole, recommendable if you want to see puffins from up close. The view up there is great as well. Also in the southwest is the Skogafoss. There's a plane wreck in the vicinity, but it's only reachable by foot or shuttle bus. An alternative would be a different wreck near the beginning of the F249, which is way closer to its parking area. Further east is Diamond Beach and the Jökulsárlón, a glacial lagoon. There are tours through the lagoon on boats and large amphibious vehicles. We spotted a seal there, but I unfortunately didn't catch it on camera. The weather changes quite quickly. We experienced hail, rain and blue skies, all during a 1-hour hike to Strutzlaug. Waterproof hiking boots are a good choice. The temperatures on our trip were between 10 and 20 degrees Celsius during the day, although they can vary widely. You should also consider the strong winds you may experience. Organizing around layers of clothing is recommended, just like you would for a hike. The constant brightness can be irritating for your sleep rhythm. Keeping a schedule and remembering to rest and sleep is crucial. We stayed on campgrounds most nights, and there were people arriving and departing around the clock. The average fee for the campgrounds was between 20 and 30 bucks for 2 people. There was either an office where you paid beforehand, or someone came to the car either in the evening or the morning to collect payment. We didn't call ahead or make a reservation for any of the campsites. Everything was payable by card. Good morning. So this is our first entire day in Iceland. Here's the Land Cruiser we rented. It's a 5-seater with super cheap mods, and we slept in the trunk yesterday. Here are our sleeping mats, and they are on the luggage at the moment. The luggage was in the front while we slept. The regular Land Cruiser without custom camping interior or removed backseats is too small to allow an adult to stretch their legs. I'd only recommend this if you're below average height. Eating out is very expensive in Iceland. Prices for food at the supermarkets were comparable to other rich European countries though. We brought the gas stove from home to cook our own food. You can buy the gas in camping shops or at certain gas stations. Used bottles can also be returned at gas stations. If you have something to add or had different experiences you'd like to share, please consider leaving a comment below.